Ratigan just. Yes. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another Sunday at the round table. Uh, with me, I have Brother Patrick and the maestro himself, Mr. Will Ratigan. I'm hoping to have some other guests, but I'm still waiting to hear from Ishmael. I think I should start shout out like Ratigan. Ishmael, where you there? But while we wait, and the other guests to join us, there are some things in the news which I think it would be worth it to hear the comments of my panelists, And I'm talking about the recent news, the most recent news happening in America, you know. Brothers, seems like Jamaica, if Trump win, Jamaica is in trouble. I don't know because this man saying mass deportation back home, all sort of thing. And I listened to the speech with some friends, and everybody was worried as to what a Trump presidency will mean for Jamaica, given what he said. So that is something in the news we want to talk about. I know there's not much we can say, yeah, and we have to be careful in terms of what we say. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing we want to touch base on is the $700 billion medical expenditure that it seems like it's been going on for a number of years now. But the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I don't want to say they can't account for it, but they haven't account for the expenditure, and it is creating a lot of headache in Kingston. Because there's a permanent secretary who seems like him boss up people in the ministry there, and any questioning him just boss up people and get away with that. So those are two issues I want to touch base on. I am not sure if Ratty can have something. I would like to hear about the protest march coming up. You know, Patrick, I don't know what you have in mind, what you're thinking, but brethren, you heard the more recent news out of Washington D.C.
with
Have
Biden
you?
with Biden stepping
By
down from the
yeah,
campaign. Yeah,
yeah.
I was just following it on the news and endorsing Kamala Harris, which is something pretty much that was expected of him. Now what's left to be seen is to see if the Democratic Party across the board coalesce around Kamala Harris. So far, she has received some endorsements from certain sections from the Congressional Black Caucus and former President Clinton and Hillary Clinton and um, from the Congressional Democrats. Well, at least a section of the Congressional Democrats. So there's been some views passing around, but still it's still early, so there's still a lot of people left to be heard from. But so far
Okay.
it looks like we're
Right,
looking at
right.
a likely Trump against Kamala Harris and a vice president to be determined. That's the likely possibility.
Okay. Okay. Ratigan, I know you are restricted in what you can say. Oh, he's not there. Yeah, that seemed to be the trend. A Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket, but I don't know if the Democratic Party can show them full support behind her because things are not looking that pretty. Radigan, before you leave, I was about to ask you. I know they're restricted in what you can say, given your relationship with the your United government and state and what have you. But what do you make of this thing, Ratigan? Kamala Harris, Biden dropping out and Harris, and what are the implications you think? Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I just heard the news. Uh, Maybe when I said just, like about an hour ago. Um, my personal feeling is that he why now? I mean, his health um, is questionable and has been questionable for some time. So if he was, I'm trying to think, why didn't he just decide, a year ago, 2 years ago, that look, I'm not going to stand for re-election, and then the Democrats, decide what they want to do in terms of selecting a nominee. But then to do it at this late point, I'm wondering, was he forced out, or was did he suddenly come to the realization that, look, I don't have the strength, I don't have the stamina, I don't have the willpower. I just don't even have the brain power right now to move forward with a re-election bid. It's just crazy. Because for me, if I were advising him, I would have said to him a long time ago, look, you're just going to be a one-term president, and that's it. Give me your age and your mental and your physical condition. All right. So um, people have a lot of decisions to make between now and the next few weeks, or just before the convention, as to who they're going to support as their nominee. So I'm still trying to gather up all of the facts. I really don't know much about it, except to say that if he was going to drop out, he should have dropped out a long time ago.
Oh, and you listen to? Did you listen to Trump's speech?
Me?
Did you listen to Trump's speech at the convention?
I haven't been watching
I
the
listened
news
to it,
for.
and after I was with some friends, and I listened to the thing. And right, people people just get scared, that boy. If Trump come to power, Jamaica face some serious problem because after the mass, you know, deportation of immigrants. Some friends were worried. Is that something you think we should worry about?
Well,
A Trump coming to office and the deportation?
well, the thing about it is that that's nothing new. That was precisely what he did the last time he was in office. I mean, him ramp up the deportation with ICE and all of that, and it is only expected that he will be even more forceful with that. So I mean, that's nothing new really, right? And so that is something pretty much to be expected. And the fact of the matter is that um, the bigger picture that one needs to look at is in terms of what it means to immigration reform. That it means it's likely that um,
Tell
immigration reform is not something forthcoming under Trump administration. In fact, the immigration problem is likely to become worse.
so definitely we need to worry then.
Well,
The diaspora, the Jamaican diaspora need to worry.
I don't see it as
At
a
minimum, we should be
I don't
we should be.
I don't see it as a situation to worry about really, because we really shouldn't be hanging our hopes on a better life by coming to the US, because there's no guarantee in that, right? And it's not. It's in fact is a poor way if you look at living your life. So that's just my position, really.
Ishmael,
How you doing?
welcome, Ishmael. Can you hear me, Ishmael?
I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, man, I
We,
can
we,
hear
we-
you.
yeah, we've been talking about the a
Breaking
Trump
news,
vic.
eh?
We are talking about a Trump victory and the likely impact on Jamaica. We are
Right.
talking about a Trump
Mm-hmm.
victory and the likely impact on Jamaica.
Yeah, man, I'm hearing
I
you
don't know
clearly.
what's the feedback. Is people in Jamaica worry about Trump
Uh
coming to office?
um well, given that the announcement has just been made in relation to Uncle Joe, when the debacle took place in relation to Trump, um the feedback was that of, you know, even though it's early days, he can claim the victory you know of the presidency because of the whole issue surrounding the shooting. Now, with that said, economically, um, people are in fact worried because the policies of a Donald Trump United States, it kind it most of the time it supports big corporations and stuff like that. So um, regardless of what people say, Joe Biden, his policies help the, the layman, as it relate, versus versus that of Donald Trump. So on the ground, I wouldn't say people are pensive, but most of the people that has, you know ties to America, especially those that, the thing go, illegal immigrants sort of thing, they're worried because one of his big ticket items, is that of deportation. So if that is the case, if deportation is will be an issue on his plate, Jamaicans will be worried because that means a remittance might dwindle. That means we won't get the chance for, I don't want to use the term runoff, but visit our family. So in that sense, the truth is, it's just a matter of wait and see, because I'm not sure if the Democrats at this late stage can pull it off. I'm not sure. I don't know, but miracles can happen. But as it stands, it is in fact Donald Trump's election to lose.
And you base that on what? What you base that on? That conclusion.
So, all right. So that conclusion is based off how politicking works and how the nuances of politics goes. So more often than not, people don't vote on policies, and if they do vote on policies, is the minority that do that. Um, People vote based on, emotions and familiarity, and most of Trump supporters are familiar and emotionally attached to him, so they will in fact come out and vote. As it relates to others, if it if that is the case, I I'm not sure. So that is what I based it from, the fact that, most of um America, as it relates to the support
Patrick,
of.
Patrick, you share that view?
No,
Patrick, that it.
no, no, I don't actually. The politics here is much different from what Ishmael is describing, actually, right? Because what happens is that election victory here in the US is kind of based more on what they call the swing states, right? And that is the group of independent voters, right, within these states that may vote one way or the other, right, based on where they choose to give their support. And in terms of that, it's concretely based around policies and their awareness of these policies of the different you know parties.
So
So
some of these states are who? Who?
it's really about the swing states like Pennsylvania, right? Arizona now you can consider one, Florida, Michigan,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah, certain swing states.
So with these swing states, what is the demographic of the population there?
The demographic is considered to be what they call purple, meaning that it's like a combination of both, like a even mix of Republican and Democratic base, and then right, a constituency of independent voters, right, and that's where the swing comes from, where the independent voters put their support.
And that's what it always has been.
No, well, that's the situation now.
Okay. So
So
well.
in
Mhm,
other words, of the 50 states, you have Democratic states, clearly Democratic states, which are called blue states,
mhm.
right? And have Republican states, which are called the red states, right? And when you look at the Republican states and so on, right, from time to time you find that the 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 um the demographics shift, right? And in shifting, they might become more purple or they might switch and become blue. But for now, in this electoral cycle, right, we're looking more at the purpose, what we consider the purpose state, which is the ones where primarily, right, the vote, the victory will be determined by where the independent vote goes.
I mean, I think I,
Okay.
I think I
Herb,
think okay.
Herb, you're muted.
Herb, do you think it's that? Herb, can you hear me, Herb?
Yeah, I hearing you. I'm hearing you now. Yeah. Do
Yeah,
I think what?
we're talking. No, Ishmael said that the American election, upcoming election in November, is Trump own to lose. See, like he's saying Trump is the winner. Trump is going to win that election. What is your take, my brother? Because I know you are in touch with people all around Washington D.C. and whatever. What's the vibes? And should us,
Well,
we Jamaicans in the diaspora, worry about a
no,
Trump victory?
no. What's going on? What you're seeing now
Okay.
is the Republicans rolling the dice with backing Trump, right? It's last they have nobody else, and it's the last grasp. They go and they back somebody they know who is a criminally troubled person, with the hope that they can ride him to victory in the Senate and the House as well, right? Now that the Democrats have made up their minds that Biden should be a one-term president. He had 2 terms as vice president, now 1 term as president, um, and he can't remember anything to espouse the various positions that he has um, outshine Trump in. He couldn't even remember that in the debate, because he's outshone Trump in every category you can think of. And so it is really the Democrats to lose, right? and they decided, okay, they're making the adjustment. Biden did. So he let Kamala give it a shot. Now Kamala probably going to have to pick somebody to a white male to balance the ticket. Maybe Mark, the senator from
Rubio.
Arizona. No. Rubio is a Republican.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember his name. He's the senator from Arizona. He was an astronaut.
Warner,
No
from
man,
Oh,
astronaut.
Virginia.
I know what you're talking. I know what you're talking.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Um, yeah,
and
the one
and
who is his
And
wife was a
and
congressional Democrat.
Congresswoman, and she got shot in the head.
Yeah.
Yes,
Kelly, Mark Kelly.
Mark Kelly. Yes,
Mhm.
and so you use somebody like him to balance the ticket. Otherwise, she would have to go dig into um, the southern states to see who are the more prominent Democrats there that the people are willing to vote for. The danger would be selecting the Jewish senator from Georgia. Then the ticket would be to minority, to Jewish, because she's married to a Jewish man, right? And then you have other issues that pop up around. I mean, you really would see the folks in the South coming out um, against the Democrats in a situation like that. Because remember, they were the ones that marched and talk about the Jews will not replace us. Well, the Jews are replacing you. So the bottom line is you go and you get somebody like the guy in transportation, um,
Who the
the
judge?
huh?
Who the judge?
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg, yes, right. But then that might cause um, other issues because he's gay, and they might say, no, this thing is going too far, right? So to me, Mark out in Arizona is the best shot that she has a balance in that ticket, right? And then um, they have to all support her. It's all hands on deck. And we're gonna see. Remember now, they were coming to Biden to get rid of her in the first place. That's what they've been doing. And Biden said, hell no. So now I'm sure they tried to pull her into the argument to condemn Biden. I think what did Biden in was when Barack said no, they're not gonna win with Biden at the top of the ticket and with Biden forgetting things and doing stuff like he has been. And I think that correction has been made. So let's see how it plays out in the polls.
The question I'd want to ask though, okay, is that um will gender play a role in this election?
Will what?
Gender.
Yes, because
Everything,
of
everything
Gender.
plays a role. Gender,
Hmm.
race, everything plays a
Given
role.
that Kamala is a woman, and America has never had a woman president.
well,
Yeah,
the key
both
to
gender and
that
race
is
plays a role.
the key to that going to be the fact that they want to get the abortion authorization back. That's where they're going to have to play the game, and that way gender is neutral because there are some males that want to see the abortion come back, and the Republicans can't just say, "Hey, we want this as a national policy." They can't play that game anymore. All
But
right.
Let me just let me just say that one of the things I think we're looking too far down the road. We're assuming that she's going to be the nominee. We're assuming that she won't be challenged at the convention. Right now, I can tell you that people of influence and power, they're sitting and they're deciding who will represent the party. One of the ways they're going to do that is They have to do a poll, a likability poll. They have to do a poll to figure out, is she capturing the voters, with vision and purpose, likability, all of these things. They're going to look at these things. So we can't assume just because President Biden says, I support her as a nominee, that automatically she's going to become the nominee. So I wouldn't assume, personally, I don't assume that, because I think there's going to be a fight as to who's going to represent the Democrats in the election against Trump. Now, here are some people that I've been looking at. I've been looking at Gavin Newsom out of California. Yes, he has some issues, but he's young, he's dynamic, he's likable. And if you recall, he survived on no confidence vote. I think it was last year, the year before,
No, before
and he handily defeated that. Right.
yeah.
Then there is Josh Shapiro. Really, if you listen to Josh talk, then out of Pennsylvania, he's the governor out of Pennsylvania. Nice guy. Then there's another one, Gretchen Whitman, out of Michigan. Whitmore, yeah, out of Michigan. She's a viable candidate too. So what I'm saying is that I wouldn't consider it a done deal at this point to say, well, Kamala is going to get it. So now the question is, who does she pick as a running mate? I would say, let's just wait for, give it a couple of weeks, and then we will, then we get to the convention and we'll see who the big boys are backing. Because if they come back with a poll saying that these people are more likable than her, and I guarantee you they're going to be doing this poll. I guarantee you they'd be. I'm not even.
But
this is I wouldn't even bet on. They're going to do it. And
but
if it comes back,
here's the thing, Will. Here's the thing. Of all of who you just mentioned, right? They don't have I wouldn't say that they have anything that measures up to Kamala Harris, right? In terms of replacing her, right? The difficulty with Newsom, right? Gavin Newsom and Kamala is that Gavin Newsom was fully backing the Biden ticket, right? Which means that he was backing the Biden and the Kamala ticket, right? But the other point is that he could not be seen as a vice presidential candidate because he would be coming from the same state as a presidential candidate, right? If Kamala Harris was to become the nominee, right? And that is what would disqualify him. Now, in terms of Josh Shapiro is really a young governor, new governor. He just won the governor's race, right, just last year. So he's not a seasoned governor to really rise to that national prominence to be top of the ticket. Certainly, he could be viewed as a vice presidential candidate because he has had some track record too, some political track record. He was former attorney general for Pennsylvania and so on, right? Now, Gretchen Whitmore, on the other hand, right, is, yes, definitely a seasoned governor, right, two-term governor, and well popular, well known nationally, and so on, right, and has handled some tough situations, even with the attempt to overthrow her as governor, right? So she is a seasoned person to rise to be a contender. But the other ones that you can look at in terms of contention is more people like Senator Elizabeth Warren, who is a well-seasoned senator, right? Highly experienced, and has also run for president, the presidential office before, right? In fact, I would see her as an ideal, right, vice presidential candidate to Kamala Harris, right? Because she's another one who fully was behind the Biden campaign, right? So it is more tricky than just the going up against Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris is seen more as the obvious choice coming from the Biden camp, and the Biden camp was solid. The only thing that they held to disqualify Biden, if you may, is his age, right? Which of course I don't buy that. Plus, a number of people don't buy that, right? For example, when you look at um Senator what's his name? Right? The other senator, the independent senator who ran against Biden. Um uh what's his name again? Why is his name slipping me now? But anyway, he's
It
82
wasn't. It
years old.
wasn't King.
Huh?
It wasn't King.
No.
Or
Oh,
Bernie.
Bernie. Bernie's 82. Bernie's older than Biden. Age is not a factor. Trump is 3 years younger than Biden. Age
No,
is
but
not a
Patrick,
factor because
But
they
let
try
me
to
t-
make it a factor.
let me
Patrick, if you listen to juxtapose both men, right? And you listen to the conversations and how they can carry the issue. And Biden, obviously, he cannot carry the issue. He cannot.
I understand
He's
that. I
yeah. So when you
understand
say
that.
age,
But,
it's
but
not
that's
only age, No, it's not only age. It's also the ability to recall and the ability to cogently put arguments together. And Biden at one point was a champion at that. He was a lion at doing that, but he's not that person anymore. And so the question is,
no, it's quite the
what are you going
reverse.
to do?
It's quite
One
the
quick point.
reverse.
No, one quick point. You mentioned, circumstances alter cases and politics make strange bedfellows. So just because, and I'm not arguing for any of these people because at this point I'm apolitical, but just because a Gavin Newsom is from California and he's supportive of the Biden ticket doesn't mean that when the big boys come calling on him and say, listen, you are the person that we're going to put our money behind, that he's going to say, my loyalty and my word, they're with this thing, so therefore I'm not going to do it. I mean, I've seen some strange things happen in politics where
That's
people
true.
first come out and they say, I support this person wholeheartedly, and they get that phone call, and then all of a sudden they forget that they make it. And then the last point I want to make is, again, let's not assume that she's going to be the nominee. I guess we can wish and we can hope, but at this point, there are people making phone calls to have meetings right now to decide who are we going to have as our nominee. And one of the ways they're going to do that is they're going to poll the population and say, okay, let's poll a couple people and see what they say before we put our money behind a candidate.
I understand. I
Let, let
understand.
me
I
let me
understand
say
all of
this,
that.
Pat.
Yeah.
Let me say this.
let let
The
let
poll,
let,
the
let
polling, the polling
just
has
some
been done
just
already.
a minute, gentlemen.
What's up, Mike?
Let me put something on the agenda for you guys to consider. Harris Obama ticket. Obama's vice president.
No,
Barack Obama
no,
as vice
Barack
president with
cannot come back as
Harris.
president.
no.
Why not?
Barack isn't
That's out of the
eligible.
Why
question.
why why
He
why
That's
not?
cannot be
completely out of the
president
question.
again.
No, him
Why
do him 8 years already. Him can't serve
why
in the
why?
White House anymore.
No, yeah, he can serve
Can't
as vice president.
No, he cannot. He cannot.
Yes, he can.
No, to
yeah, him
be vice
can.
president, you
Yes,
must be
he
eligible
can.
to become president, and he cannot become president.
Is there any
Why?
precedent? Is there any precedent, Mike, that you know of?
Hello, He- hello.
No, I
Well,
just
I
asking.
know
Any
that is
precedent?
one
Any
argument amongst.
precedent you know of?
I, I, need,
That is a part of the discussion, Mike.
I need to go back to and find that article, but I know that is something being discussed within progressive Democrats.
Barack to
I
come back.
know what's happening in
They,
Boston.
they,
If some
that,
people
that
have said
that's not gonna happen.
yes as vice president,
No,
okay,
maybe
but that is
maybe
one
the wife.
argument. That is one argument. Hear me, listen to me, listen to me. I'm saying to you that is one argument making the rounds here in Boston. You know,
But let me
Kamala Harris with Barack Obama as vice president. Because listen to me. Kamala can't go and run with someone from California because it doesn't have nothing to the ticket. But Mark Kelly has something to the ticket. He's from, and immigration going to be a big issue, border, and he's right on the border. He can speak to that question more than anyone. Okay, so Obama, Kamala Harris, and Mark Kelly is a viable ticket, I think. But there's discussion taking place about Kamala at the top of the ticket and Obama as vice president. You guys
Obama
are
being
saying
vice
that's not
president
possible, right?
is
It's not
right,
possible, Mike.
because
That's a pipe
if he's a
dream.
part of the ticket, it means that
Why?
if because it leaves the door open for the possibility for him to become president, and that means he serve as president 3 times instead of two. Isn't it a part of the constitution that you can only do two
No,
Only
terms?
2 times. Two
Right.
bites at the
no.
apple. 2 bites at the apple. Let me say this.
So you're saying that something,
It's not possible, Mike. Well, I'm telling you
yeah.
straight up, it's not possible.
Well, the simple explanation to that is this: a vice presidential candidate, right, must be capable of replacing the president,
Yeah.
right? And that is what actually would
Mm.
disqualify him because he wouldn't be able to in the event that Kamala Harris has to be removed from office, right? To be the next in line to Kamala Harris. So that would be the disqualification.
Does
Okay.
Michelle even want
Well,
to run?
I said
No,
Said
no,
no.
she has
She said,
absolutely no interest in politics.
yeah.
Okay.
And here's the kicker. The $300+ million that's in the kitty right now is locked into
yeah.
Harris
Biden.
and Biden. Biden Harris.
Hmm.
Right? If they were to nominate somebody else other
And
than Harris, then they would have to start all over again, and that's not gonna work.
you also have to look on the delegates too.
Yeah. The delegates are locked into Biden Harris.
Yes.
Let me read you something done by the University of Georgia Law School, right? And it says here, to be sure, thoughtful analysts have argued that the Constitution forecloses the possibility that a twice before elected president can hold or at least secure election to the vice presidential office. Close inspection reveals, however, that that view misses the mark. In fact, the relevant constitutional provisions, their histories, and their purposes all point to the same conclusion. A twice before elected president may become vice president either through appointment or through election, and like any other vice president, may thereafter succeed from that office to the presidency for the full remainder of the pending term.
Oh wow. So Mike was on to
So,
something.
based on this article coming out of this
So
this
what?
review, Michael, you're right. He can serve. I wouldn't suggest it, and I don't think he wants to. But
Yeah,
yeah,
because
strictly
I hear the
speaking,
discussion. No, no, I tell you that no, but that is a discussion going on among certain people. I'm telling you, some
But
people I know who are active in
here's
the leadership of Democratic Party,
here's
and I'm like,
here's the thing.
wow,
Here's the thing, though, Will, right? With them articles, those are just constitutional opinions.
Patrick, no easy, you know.
no. But here's the thing. But here's the thing. Because no, here's the thing. You ask a question, has there ever been a precedent? And because there has never been a precedent, you can't do it until a court says no. A
I
court
get,
would have to come in and say
I get,
no,
I get that. I get that.
right?
I get
Because
that.
the
of
Constitution, the
course,
I get
Constitution.
that. But
of
just to
course,
say that, it's
but
something that can
I,
happen and it just works.
but Ratigan,
It's gonna be challenged.
yeah, to do something like that, I think to test the constitutionality of that particular um 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 thing within the constitution, that particular article, I think it. I don't think the Democrats should in fact even try to do that
But remember,
versus
Barack
who
Obama was
they're
a
running
constitutional
against.
lawyer as well.
Oh,
No, no, I'm
yeah,
not saying that they should or
no, but
shouldn't. No, because there are lots of things. There are lots of things that we wouldn't do, even though constitutionally and legally we can do. I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example in
The
Jamaica.
Supreme Court
There's
just
a
said
big
it.
Got me
war.
that thing,
The
boy.
Supreme
There's
Court
a
just
big
said
war
it.
about Golding and him citizenship and whatnot.
Right.
Constitutionally, it's not a problem. It's
Yeah,
not a
Mhm.
but
problem.
yeah, but it leaves the door open for the question of um moral and integrity and
I
y-
agree. I agree.
perception versus the actual rule of law. So I don't
I
think
agree.
the Democrats out of them, because the argument can be that they are the same thing as Trump. No, because they might challenge the constitution this way. Because remember, um they're running against a felon, a convicted well, they're running against a felon, so he was in fact charged. So because of that, I don't think they should challenge the constitution in that particular thing just because they want to be office holder sort of thing. I think personally, I don't know when the DNC is, but the DNC will be very interesting because, as Patrick said, I don't as not Patrick, as Will said, I don't think she may be the only nominee.
No, no, no. It's not a matter if she'll be the only nominee. The fact of the matter is that here's the thing now that makes her the likely nominee, right? When you look at in terms of the support garnered around her,
Mm-hmm.
right, and the fact that again, it's not like she's not in office. She's already in office to some degree, right? Because she's
Right.
currently the vice president, right? Secondly, this is not your regular primary elections, right? We're talking about, right? So there's the all indications are that she'll be the likely nominee, right? I hardly see anything stopping that happening, right? Not that nobody would attempt to,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of them likely succeeding in preventing her from becoming the next nominee, right? That would pose serious problems. That would be a certain loss for the party, right, at the polls. And
They
that's why
did.
What
that's
would
why
be
I
a
tell you
certain
that
loss?
everything is
That she
everything is
become
on the
the
table.
nominee?
Huh? No, what would be a certain loss would be loss to Trump.
As it stands right now, Mike,
Okay.
they did
Well,
the,
the way
the survey, and the survey showed that Harris was faring better against Trump than Biden was, right?
yes.
Than
So
anybody.
Yeah,
anybody
2 points
would
better.
fare
2 points.
better. The fact is, you need law and order at this point to be the centerpiece for the Democrats, because the Republicans appear to have abandoned that position, to where you even have a corrupt Supreme Court with the what's the justice there from Pennsylvania, Pat, and the black man that they have up there,
With Thomas and Alito.
Thomas and Alito, corrupt as hell, and even the Chief Justice and his
Robert.
wife, questionable employment tactics, that she's getting favors that favor him, right?
Um, I don't know if this is the place for it, but um, so there is a breaking news that the Montego Bay Airport has been shut
Yeah,
down,
shut down. Yes,
right?
yes.
Because there
The
has been
guns were passing through.
gun and live rounds found in a passenger bag, and the passenger is on the loose in the airport.
Right.
Um, so that is happening now. And they can't locate the passenger. They can't and the airport is on halt. No planes in or out as it stands. So I guess we'll have to wait and see how
Yeah.
that.
Was a passenger coming in or going out?
It doesn't say. I just got a
It's a
message. It doesn't say it. All I know is that the airport is on a halt because they found live rounds and a gun in the luggage of a passenger. All right, sorry about that. Go ahead now, Herb.
But hold on. I want to understand that clearly now. How do they find
And
live
and and,
rounds
and
and the
go ahead,
passenger
Patrick. Say what
isn't
you say.
there? Because normally, if it's an incoming passenger, then yes, the bags would be examined, but it would be examined in the presence of the passenger, right? On the
Well,
other hand,
there is no
if
passenger.
it's an outgoing passenger, right? Normally, bags don't get examined going out.
Oh,
No, hold on. Maybe carry on though. Do we know if it's the checked
If it's
luggage
carry
or
on, then it would be with the
I don't have that
passenger.
information now. I'll ask.
No,
Let me
I
ask.
saw it when it was announced, but it wasn't clear. They just shut it down, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't say how it was discovered. Now, normally, if let's say they're unloading and one of the bags fall, or they notice the bag couldn't close and there's stuff in there, and they check it and they find out it's weapons, that's one way. I don't think carry on would be noticeable. Nobody that crazy, because
But
carry on you have to go through security, right? So it's
but
most likely luggage that was put underneath the plane.
but here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with that, Herb. If it was, let's say it was
Uh,
luggage that was damaged, and then it was exposed. Normally, what happens in that kind of circumstance is that they keep it under the quiet to see who comes up to claim.
You're dealing with Jamaica, Pat.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Just
saying.
just just like when they discover all the weapons in Miami, right? Remember that? And the HSI agent asked them to keep it quiet. What
someone
did they
in the
do? Fitz
someone in the
Bailey went out and did a TV interview to say that they stopped weapons coming into Jamaica,
Ah,
in Miami. So
some
mm,
they have
someone
ways of tipping off their benefactors. Let me put it that way.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know,
someone in the comment is saying that it was in fact a gun-shaped lighter that they found. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's any truth to that. I'll have to verify. But that's what he's saying, and that if not, they're about to reopen, or if not, they have already reopened the airport. So let
In
me
other
check
words,
that
then
and
it's
see.
just a story.
I guess so. But even if it's a story, what would they? Then again, Jamaica just full
like
of so
so
much
many,
drama.
you deal with Jamaica.
Mm.
It's never a dull moment. What can I tell you?
on that note, can shift to the local note. We want to shift from the foreign news to the local situation. Ishmael,
Yeah.
take it from here. Tell us about the 700 billion
That article.
and the
Yeah.
questions that
Oh,
you
the
have.
seven hundred
Mr.
million
Vatican
dollar
is here. Herb is here.
in
So just bring everybody up to the 700 billion. Yeah.
Million or billion? Which one?
million. The $700 million scandal in the in the Ministry of
Is
Health.
it is it seven? Is it
It
million
was
or
billion the
billion?
last time I checked.
It's
What
billion.
is it, Ishmael?
It's billion.
Yeah, it's part of the 1.7 trillion. 900 billion over at education,
Mm-hmm.
and
Seven
then
hundred billion in. Oh yeah.
Okay.
and then the PM's office have the
Right.
rest of it.
So the intention was well, it is a part of our continuing series about accountability in public office. However, I had reached out to Janet Calder, and she had in fact agreed. But she had something very, very last minute, like 1:30, that she had to um attend to. So unfortunately, she couldn't be here. So
Well,
as it stands, we can discuss it until she makes herself available again.
But let me ask you this, Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
We can or cannot.
That being an accountable issue,
Mm-hmm.
based on reading that article, right? That it's are supposed to rule. I mean, it should have people should have been in prison already.
Should have. I like what you say. Should have. That's not that's not the standard operating procedure. No.
Well, for what? For what?
Um,
Yeah,
for how
yeah,
things
That's
but for
operate
what?
in
that's out,
For
Jamaica.
what? What should they be in prison for?
that's outright embezzlement and
For
robbery
what?
and um
They can't give
lack of
account for.
accountability and
All
all
right.
of
So
that. The
1.7
whole
trillion dollar has
shebang.
been missing. As per the
But
Auditor General's report.
First to begin with,
you read
people
you
should
read
have
this.
lost. As the department should have lost jobs over this.
Well,
At the
well,
very least, at
Were
the
you
very least,
The permanent
were you
secretaries had the
were
responsibility to
yes,
yes,
balance
I
the
mean,
books at the end
were
of each March. So why wasn't it balanced under the PNP
yeah.
for the first 2 years? And
mm,
then
You're talking about
subsequently, the
10 years.
next 8 years, yeah, 8 years under the JLP. That's the
right.
question
It
that
should
needs to
have
be
been
asked.
rolling.
I mean, as it stands, as far as I know, uh, successive governments, they don't necessarily have a good track record as it relates to accountability of
No,
public
but no,
funds.
but this is not
Um,
just simply saying you don't have a good track record, Ishmael. This is saying that
Ishmael,
there's no accounting
Ishmael,
system. Basically, that's what that is saying.
mm-hmm. I'm listening to you, Mikey.
There's no accounting system. And you
Well,
cannot be running a government with no
can you
accounting system.
can you bring up the editorial?
sure.
Can you bring up the editorial, the Gleaner, this morning? So this today's Gleaner editorial, because this thing, there's more to the story than just
Right.
bad accounting.
Gleaner editorial for
If you
this
bring it
morning.
up, share your screen. Yeah, Sunday morning. It's on the
It's not in
commentary
today's
page.
news, you know. It's not a
Yes,
part
it
of
is
today's
in.
news,
It is in Sunday Gleaner. It is
or it's a part of today's
part
news.
of the Sunday Gleaner. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's in the. I tell you where it's at. It's the editorial today. Editorial from the Gleaner. Editorial.
Okay.
By the way,
Mr. Size.
Ratty, New, New York is now confirmed. You Ratty?
Eh? Yeah,
The
okay.
New York filing that Ian did is now confirmed.
Okay.
We're moving on DC.
Yeah, well, I forget somebody for Pennsylvania.
You
I had
found
one.
it, Ishmael?
It's not coming up. It's saying, I'm not sure if it's
Ish,
my internet, but it's saying the page isn't working. I'm not sure if it's
What page
my
you trying
internet,
to get to?
the editorial page, but the Gleaner and the Gleaner article is not coming up on my
the
thing.
editorial page, the Sun editorial,
Yeah, I know, but
Sunday Gleaner.
I'm saying the Gleaner itself not coming up on my system. Not coming up at all. I'm not sure why. It's saying this page isn't working. No data received, and it's saying this page can't be reached when I refresh. It's odd. We can't get through that. Let me check Observer.
I think, but there's you can't get to Observer.
Yeah,
It's not in Observer.
yeah, man. I know it's not on Observer, but I'm on Observer's page now. So why Gleaner now? Where that's odd. I wonder if
Go
So,
into commentary, the commentary section of the
so
Gleaner,
Mike,
and you
Hmm, that's odd. Right. So
Mike,
let me see if I can get it.
okay. So the issue really is, um, the issue we wanted to really discuss is this administration really compliant with the Constitution and the FAA Act, because of how it is set up in relation to the processes. But I noticed that most of their projects go through, it doesn't go through the regular procurement procedures. Um, I don't want to name any, but I think that is worth discussing, and that's part of the reason why every time people like you know Sir Rattigan and others ask for information, they're met with blockades. So um, this is something I think is very necessary for us to discuss, and the ways to combat this, because ever so often, even now, um, we were told that the Troy Bridge will in fact commencement of construction for the rebuilding of the Troy Bridge will commence, but it's not a local contractor, and we're told that no local contractor has met the criteria to to um to carry out the work. So it's off that basis that I decided to do some further digging, and I'm finding that most of the procurement procedures aren't actually being followed. Um, if if Rattigan can go ahead and tell us every time when he asks for an ATI, as it relates to these monies or the information surrounding them, that would help a whole lot, because I've asked, and up to now nobody not look for me. Maybe because I'm age still. I'm hoping.
Them- If you use a different
Hey,
name.
hey,
Oh,
Mikey, looking at let's put the article out there, which you can open up in the private chat. Just click on the private chat and you get it.
okay. All right. So um all right.
You
So
post it.
I'm on it
Share
now.
your
I'm on it
screen,
now.
Ishmael.
Okay.
You gonna share your screen?
Yeah, man. I'm sharing my screen now.
I'm not seeing. Okay, yeah.
Y- I'm all right. So here it is. Are you seeing it now?
yeah,
All right.
Yes.
you switch.
Here it
Okay.
is.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Let me try to make it a little bit
Yeah.
bigger.
You look at this article is
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mike.
this art this article is not claiming corruption. At best, it is saying the system is terrible. The internal mechanism within the bureaucracy terrible. That is what I read it to be saying. Somebody might think other words, but when I talk to you, you were saying corruption.
Who, me?
You know,
Corruption
yeah,
is
that
corruption.
you were saying corruption, level of corruption.
Corruption is corruption, however you try to spell it. Because
But this,
the fact of the matter is, right, that what we're talking about is information, the passing of information, the availability of information. right? And if that isn't clear, right? If that is if there's anything that prevents that from happening,
Ishmael,
that spells
Ishmael,
corruption.
can you fix this? Ishmael, can you fix this so it show properly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I trying to look for the scalability thing. I'm not finding it.
Work
Go
with
ahead, go ahead, go
what we
ahead,
have, brother.
Patrick. Go ahead,
Work with
Patrick.
what we have.
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Patrick.
but
You were saying
if
something.
you
No, I was just saying that corruption. There's no nice way to put it, right? In terms of corruption, corruption is just corruption. When basically what you're dealing with is information, whether it be accounting information
Right.
or reporting or whatever form it takes,
I think
right?
it's I,
It's still
I think it's very
accountability.
important for us to understand what corruption truly means. Um, so give give given that we're on the topic, let us use the dictionary's definition. Corruption meaning. So
okay,
Merriam-Webster dictionary says it's a dishonest or fraudulent conduct by those in power.
Same thing.
So if it is that we have a set of rules that govern us and we decide to circumvent those rules for whatever purpose, that can be considered corruption.
That can be considered. It is corruption.
Right. So I'm telling
No, no,
I'm
no.
telling
Listen, listen,
Mikey.
listen. Here's
Mhm.
here's the thing about it. We have a tendency to try to dress things up, right? Rather than just say it straightforward. That's
But
like
you have
playing
to
the
do
game
that
like the
still sometime,
politician.
Patrick.
No, 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 no,
You have to
no.
do that sometime,
Understand
remember?
this quite clearly. I
Hmm.
just said it. I put it in the simplest form, right? I said basically what you have is a passing. You're supposed to have is a passage of information, in the availability of information, whether it be around accounts or it's around reporting or whatever it is,
Hmm.
right? Where there's an obstruction of that, that's corruption.
Right.
And
Um.
that's basically what you said, right?
Hmm.
Reading the definition from the dictionary, right? Just put in a more formal way, right? And I'm saying, and then you go on to say that it suggests corrupt. No, it's plainly corruption. It's just corruption, plain and simple. It's like if you break the law, you can partially break the
yeah,
law. You break the law.
but in this specific case, in this specific case, where is the allegation of corruption? Failure to
In
submit
this
a
specific
report,
space,
is not
in
corruption. It can border on that. It can border on that, but that is not corruption.
Where the
That
corruption
can
is,
be because of poor management.
but poor management can be corruption too.
Patrick, I'm not hearing it.
I'm saying poor management is
It
corruption.
can be. Yeah, it
I
can
guess
be.
Because
It
this
used
this
to
is this is
disguise
something this
corruption.
is something that has been happening over a period of years, right? And it
Yeah,
involves
but Patrick, we're
enormous
talking.
sums of money, right? Which cannot be accounted for.
We're talking about one. I'm not saying that all those devices are not used to cover and mask corruption. What I'm saying is that in this single case, where the bureaucracy is slow, even to get a birth certificate out of the bureaucracy, sometimes take you 6 months or more. We have a very underperforming, poorly skilled bureaucracy that we're working with. And where is the corruption?
Mikey, I'm sharing
Where's the
something.
corruption? That's what I'm trying to
I'm
find.
not sure if you're seeing it.
Here's where the corruption is. Here's where the corruption is.
Okay.
Mikey, I'm sharing something. Can you see it?
No,
If
let me.
Look again.
if you look at that example you just cite in terms of birth certificate and so on, right? It's a known thing over the years, right? Where some people can.
Wonderful. Here we go now. I want you guys to listen to this. I'm not sure if you can hear it.
Go ahead.
Are you hearing it?
No,
No. Do you turn it all the way up?
Let me try that.
you don't hit play yet. You have to hit play again.
All right, let me turn it all the way up. Let me hit play again. Are you hearing?
No.
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 All right, let me let, let me try to
Scroll down so we can look at it.
so I'm playing the what the
Jump woman.
right
Janet
Okay.
Calder.
Janet Calder. She was supposed to be our guest, but unfortunately she couldn't make it. You're still not hearing it?
No. That headphone beside it. Click on that and see if that makes a difference.
Apologies. My apologies. My apologies. That was an error on my part. No,
Still not hearing it.
I'm still not hearing it. So it is in fact an excerpt from the interview that she did, and it goes to what Herb was saying in relation, and Patrick, in relation to the permanent secretaries and the bureaucrats of the respective MDAs, and they are in fact the accountable officers to this $1.7 million, not necessarily the parliamentarians, because they are in fact the holders of the money and how it is spent. I'd wanted to play it, but we're find another way. But yeah, nevertheless, I think it's it's very important for us to understand that in relation to how monies are spent when it is not yours, it is not your money, is absolutely important. So if it is that you cannot, so if it is that you cannot give account for any, oh, if it is that you cannot give account for monies that you were sent or you were given to do a particular thing, and when asked about the question, you find other excuses, that is borderline corruption. And if you don't think that is corruption, then you may need to revisit your interpretation.
Totally right.
Patrick needs to mute.
Nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about.
Let me try to find another way to play it, because it's very important that you guys see the
Patrick, Herb,
Yeah.
Ratigan, you look at the article. Is it your
Yeah.
belief that there's some corruption taking place?
Well,
Or could this just be poor management?
well, here's the thing. It's not a one-step process. The the attorney,
Okay.
sorry, the auditor general didn't say that there was corruption. She just said that there's a lack of accountability for this money, right? So what that means now is
Yeah.
another agency, whether it's the Integrity Commission, whether it's the police, somebody, a mocha, somebody now has to say, okay, let's take all this information and investigate to see where did this money go. But that's where I am in my thought process with this, that it's not a clear cut case of corruption, right? However, it merits an investigation. You can't have that much money missing over a 10-year period of time and nobody's looking into it. And the idea that this permanent secretary is saying, well, it used to happen before, I don't buy that. Because here's why I don't buy it. If you remember, the government campaigned on being more accountable, um, uh, than any other government. In fact, I'm just looking at their job description for ministers of government, and I would extend this to not only to extend this to the ministers, because it says here in this document that the ministers, they have a responsibility as well for everything that happens in their portfolio. So the minister can't say, well, it was the permanent secretary and therefore I should get a pass. No, the buck stops with you. It's your portfolio, so you must get involved. So this idea that it used to happen before, I don't buy that, because your campaign saying that we're going to put on a stop to what used to happen before. So you can't come now and continue with it and then turn around and say, well, it used to happen before and nobody did anything. No, we're going to hold you responsible. So what I would do at this point, I would refer this for further and for well, I would refer this for investigation, because it wasn't an investigation, it was an audit basically that was done by the Auditor General to say where did this money was allocated, and this money cannot be accounted for. And then
Here
now the
is.
investigators will have to get in.
Let me try it
Here's
another time. Let me
here's
see if you
here's
guys can
here,
hear it.
Permanent secretary needs to make sure that after 4 months when the year end, she sends her report to parliament to say, what have we done with the people's money? All right. When that don't happen, Delia, who's supposed to come and say, what are gone? The people who get the report. Yes. Who are those? Are parliamentarians. So we have parliamentarians, for example, the Ministry of Health, for 10 years has not told our parliamentarians, told our Auditor General what they have done with our money. How much money are we talking about? Just a little bit under $700 billion.
Did you hear that?
yeah.
Let me play it
Hold on
again.
here.
The permanent secretary needs to make sure that after 4 months when the year end, she sends her report to parliament to say, what have we done with the people's money? All right. When that don't happen, Delia, who's supposed to come and say, what are gone? The people who get the report. Yes. Who are those? Are parliamentarians. So we have parliamentarians, for example, the Ministry of Health, for 10 years has not told our parliamentarians, told our Auditor General what they have done with our money. How much money are we talking about? Just a little bit under $700 billion.
Here's the thing about it, Will, about what you just said. Right? The system is set up with a number of checks and balances, right? Or what we call simply accountability, right? Just like she says, if it short circuits in one spot, right, it means that it don't get to the next place that it's supposed to get to. Now, in this circumstance, we're talking about money. We're not just talking about mere information. We're talking about money itself. Or you track money is based on, the system of accounting. Plus, further to that is the other a big part of the check and balance is the auditing,
Yo,
right? Annual auditing that is supposed to take place. If that doesn't take place,
yeah, man, cool.
if that doesn't take place, then what we again, the only thing we can, the only one word we can put to it is corruption. That money never went out in the trash. That money went somewhere where it is unaccounted for. So that's what spells corruption.
I'm have to
I
do some investing.
I
You must-
I take a different view. I take a different view. I I I, I think when we talk about corruption within the state sector, I think we should also talk about the type of state, the bureaucracy we have. We have a bureaucracy that is outdated and that is in need of modernization, and that is not taking place. We have a public affairs, a public accounts committee. What this is a body of the parliament. They sit and examine expenditure, government expenditure, and over the years, it's 10 years, over 10 years they have seen this. The
But
same
Michael,
committee that the man, the permanent secretary. Go ahead.
it's not the bureaucracy, based on what you're saying. You're saying that systems are in place. It's the people. And if you go back and you look at the Auditor General's report, she didn't say the system is screwed up. She didn't.
Exactly.
She could have said that. She could have said, "Hey, we don't have checks and balances." She never
Right.
said that. Right. So the checks and balances that you're talking about, I think they exist. It's just that people just turn a blind eye, and therein lies the corruption piece. So we have to go back now and look at this now, like what Patrick was saying, and say, wait a minute, this not right. How you can all $700 billion can just unaccounted for?
Disappear.
Yeah, it does disappear. And you have systems in place. So you have systems in place, but you just don't have the people there to do it. The people weren't doing what they were supposed to do, including the minister, because the minister, we cannot, I sense that the report, based on what Jeanette was saying and some other things, that you're trying to say that it's the permanent secretary's responsibility. That may very well be the case, but at the end of the day, the permanent secretary answers to somebody. And what this is probably where there's a breakdown in the system now between the permanent secretary and the minister. There is supposed to be close coordination and collaboration between them so that the minister knows what's going on in his ministry, because otherwise, how can the minister come out and face questions regarding this? When I'm going to come and say, oh, I don't know about the money, you have to talk to the permanent secretary. And then you go to the permanent secretary and permanent secretary say, no, I can't talk to you. It's nonsense. The
And
minister is go ahead.
and it also says, Will, that it's a part of the minister's portfolio of responsibility.
Yes. Yes. You're right. It does.
But all of these
That's why I
ministries
said.
now
That's why I said.
concentrating in the minister's
However you
office.
misunderstand it, it still spells corruption.
Patrick, I agree with you, but I see where Nita is saying, he's saying, where's the evidence of corruption, right? But I agree with you. If you go down this
And
path,
that is
you
what
are, eh?
I
You
know
see,
that's what
I
Michael
know how
is saying,
accounting
but
works.
but but
I'm saying.
I
my
know
thing
how
is,
accounting works because it is set up to work that way.
mm, what I want to know is, remember, I know, if you ask a thief, has he stolen? He will never tell you no. He will never tell you yes. I just stole something. You have to most of the time catch him in the act, or
Some
gather
will.
evidence against him. Some will.
Some will tell you.
Some will tell you, and the
Yeah.
honest thief them, right?
Yeah,
So
man.
so
No,
I'm
some man
saying,
from Waterhouse, some thief from Waterhouse will tell you.
yeah, what those thief, them a thief with principle, man, Mikey. The man that thief with principle. We're not talking about them, man. We're talking about man them. We not have no principle when them a thief. Them just
Okay.
thief and then them find a way to tell you that
Okay.
it's not thief, and that you'll benefit from it. Sort of thing. So my thing is,
Yeah.
most of the times you'll have to weigh it in relation to how it is one what exactly are the indicators of corruption? Is it in is it in par with your belief as per what you think corruption is? And if it is harming people in the end, and most of the times those three things are in unison. So if that is the case, you can't wait until you say that this is or is not corruption to make it stop. Um, give you a perfect example. If it is that will friend them, because me have to call him friend them. If it is that they weren't if it that they were in fact compliant, when he asked pertinent questions of them, don't you think they would answer, and they would answer happily at that? Would they have had a problem with him asking any
I have a
question at
question to
all?
ask.
Go ahead. Go
We
ahead. Go
don't
ahead.
know. We don't know. But the question I have for you: Do do you know that the Jamaica Constabulary Force still use a big station book, which which police have to write in their duty and what have you? In
I
the
Why?
year
was
of
not. I
2024,
was
Jamaica
Why?
Constabulary Force is
is
using a
no man, no
station.
man. They
I'm
do, they
making the
do, and
point
I
because
can attest to that because some years ago I was in fact a district constable, so I can tell you. And I was a district constable, so I can tell you, and it's a big book me used to write in and then put it in my lap
but I'm showing
because
you
10 years ago, 10 years
I'm
ago,
showing you the
constables
level of
never used
development, the modernization
right, and
But
I'm
that
it,
showing
needs
you.
to take
no,
place.
So
hold
let
on,
me
hold on, hold on, hold
no
on, hold on,
Yeah,
hold on, hold on, gentlemen.
let
Hold
me
on
take
there.
you through it.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's put things in perspective, right? Let's put things in
Okay.
perspective. You try to make the point that they're still
yeah.
writing a big book,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why is it they're writing the big book to begin with?
All right, so they write in the book because in terms of prescribing exactly what is said, it it is said that the best way how to prescribe while people are talking is to
Not
write,
prescribing, not
not
prescribing.
transcribe. Sorry.
Recording
Um.
is recording.
Well, I was taught transcribe, so
No, 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 no. It's not transcribe. If you transcribe, what it means is that you're writing down something which you're told to write down. That's
right. So
transcribe,
so
right? If you're
I am
writing down
Yeah,
hearing
but the
something
point
most of
is
the
the
time.
point.
as a matter of record,
Hmm,
right? Then it means
it has to
that
be
it's
verbatim, Patrick.
no. Hold on. If you're writing down something as a matter of record,
We're talking
right?
about two
You're
different
being
things.
you're being you're being precise in terms of your reporting,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes it record. That means anybody who come along and read the same thing, right? Transcribing, you can lose things in a transcription.
Earl, Earl,
Okay. Mute, Mike. Mute.
yeah.
Mute. Right. So, well, I'm telling you, how it, how they told me how to do it.
And
So,
the point I wanted to
the
make to you,
verbatim
Mike, is that
information. So the verbatim information we're told to transcribe it as is, and it doesn't go into the book immediately. It goes after the complainant signs that
You're
he.
talking about two different things. No, you're talking about two different things. No,
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 I'm
it's
speaking
two
on
different things. We're talking
I'm
about.
speaking on
You're talking
record
about a statement.
transcription.
No, no, hear me. Yeah, but hear me. We're talking about two different things. The book that the statement of a complainant is recorded is different from the station diary. The station diary is where when somebody visit the station, they record it. If police going out and patrol, they record it. That is a
Hmm.
station diary. So if somebody come in, they can look and see the time, what have you. I'm saying that oftentimes it's very easy, very, very easy to claim corruption. in the atmosphere in which we are living. But
Mm-hmm.
we should also look at other factors. I know for a long, long time. Well, let me not go there. But you have to look at other factors. The whole modernization of the state, the bureaucracy, that has been an
So what is the
outstanding
modernization you're
issue,
talking about now?
and nobody is talking about.
Plans
Well,
are in
start
fact
with the police
afoot.
force,
Yeah, and I'm
because I
saying
hear a
plans are in fact
policeman.
afoot. Plans are in fact afoot, and I will not knock any administration. Plans are in fact in motion to modernize each sector. Let me say that. Let me say that off the bat. However, the
Well,
pace at which
that
it's
that's
happening
what I want to hear.
is a different case. The- Because
Is a different thing,
right. In
you know.
relation to how we operate now, it's wayward. How we collect and use and disseminate information. We're far off from even the Caribbean, let alone the world. And because of this, we
You're
leave the
going
door open for corruption. Let me I want you to follow me
for
here.
corruption.
Right. So we do leave the door open because let's use the fact of how we disseminate information as relates to how people, um for argument's sake, file their taxes. Most Jamaican don't file taxes, and they should. And because they don't file taxes, um, the powers that be use that to their benefit. I'll give you an example.
Why
Um,
should they file taxes?
because it's the statutory thing to do. It's a part of your obligations as a citizen.
How is it your obligation if people don't do it?
What do you mean? How is it your obligation? You're supposed don't you file taxes in America?
Not all the time.
But if they need, what do you mean? So if IRS don't come, don't ask you any questions if you don't.
No.
Okay, all right. So
And
how I know it,
it's the same thing with Jamaica.
If you work
It's the same
right,
thing with
right.
Jamaica.
So how I know it,
Hold
you're
on, hold
supposed
on,
to
hold
file
if
on,
you
hold on.
work
Hold on. Whether you work or not, whether you work and pay taxes or you don't, right? You're not obligated because you can not file taxes and nothing changes, right? If
Mm-hmm.
something comes up now that pertains to you justifying filing taxes, then you can go and file because now it's something in your own interest that you need to preserve.
Okay.
It's not an
what is your
obligation.
thinking?
Okay.
My thinking is if the Integrity Commission is going to look at the declarations, all declarations should be cross-checked with the filing of taxes. And in case they find that they have defaulted on the
Yes.
taxes, then they need to submit prosecutions, period. Right? You can't have it both ways. You either file in your taxes and your declarations, and if you fail to file either, then you should be charged accordingly. So we have to ensure what is good governance. Good governance is what? Transparency, accountability, and integrity. When you fail in any one of those three areas, you're not having good governance. Transparency at the health ministry, transparency at the PM's office, transparency at the education ministry. Accountability is not there, right? If they were having transparency, you would be able to see everything online. Or you'd
Mm.
see a report coming out from the permanent secretary. It's not happening. No transparency, no accountability. So where the hell is the integrity?
Simple.
It's that simple. And when you fail in all three, then somebody need to go to jail for corruption because they're beating the system. And this permanent secretary, who named Brian, he can't sit there for 5 years and say didn't know.
Plus, the fact of the matter is that everybody's job has some area of accountability to it. I'm have to account to something, somebody. Every job.
There's
Whether you're
no
Isn't
doing
that part of
way.
accounts,
your job
whether you're
to
doing accounts,
Patrick
or you just
to be
simply
accountable
working.
as a citizen of the country?
Eh?
Isn't that part of your job to be accountable as a citizen of the country? And not just point fingers.
Forget about just talking in general terms. Let's be specific about it, because this is where things get lost when you speak in general terms, right? And it lead to all kinds of misunderstanding,
Okay.
right? If you're employed to do a job, whether it be from president or from prime minister onwards, you're accountable to somebody, right? It may be an individual, it may be a body, it may be a country, whatever it is, but you're accountable. It's a responsibility that the job carries. If a permanent secretary of a ministry is not making periodical reports, then he's not fulfilling his job. Same thing goes for the minister. Same thing goes to anybody going downstream in the ministry. Everybody is accountable.
Mike, what is not surprising? Who appoints the permanent secretaries and who fires them? The prime minister. He appoint them and get the governor general sign off on it. So how can he sit there for 5 years that Brian been there? I don't know how long he's been changing permanent secretaries in the office of the prime minister. Because Rocky Mead is gone, and before Rocky Mead, somebody else was there. And then when you go to
Rocky Mead was a permanent secretary.
for the Secretary of Defense.
Okay.
I'm sorry, for the office Ministry of Defense, right? And when you look at the education ministry, how many permanent secretaries have they been through? From the time Mr. Hollis was there to the time that that other joker from JC got there, right? And messed up, and even bringing back matter of fact, that farther before Dr. Grace McLean. She was removed before, and they brought her back, and now they remove her again. I don't know what her status is, but she trying to claim that she was wronged. The woman, you have money's missing, they run out the clock on it, and you talk about you were wrong. How were you wrong? You should be sitting in jail.
WhatsApp audio.
You know,
Mm.
you should be sitting down on Tower Street. Is that where the general penitentiary is?
Yes.
Yeah. Or teaching classes to the inmates to pass time.
So with all of that, with all of that, right? What's the next step, Ishmael? Now that the thing is highlight, what's the next step? What are you guys are Miss Catwell? What's her name? Jeanette. What
Calder.
what's
Jeanette
what's the next
Calder.
move?
So her. Well, I
Yeah.
can't speak for her, but what I can say on behalf of myself and us is we have to continue to highlight these issues and these irregularities in government, which is becoming commonplace now, as far as I see it, because over the last few years, almost every week we have one or two new scandals or re-emerging issues in relation to how governance and the governance structure operates, and that can't be how you run a country. So I can say that it is incumbent upon us to continue burning the fire so that they know that you can't just spend the money willy nilly. Because me know, not just for myself, but for you, for you guys who are members of the panel, and for people in the comment section, who have family at home. You do contribute to the economy and the GDP, and it's very disheartening to see you are contributing towards something, and every single time you put a dollar into something, somebody's taking 80 cents out of it without your say so, sort of thing. It can't be. So again, we have to continue the advocacy in relation to corruption, and remind people that these these things aren't supposed to be, and there are in fact checks and balances for how they are should be. And if it is that the checks and balances don't work, we lobby government to change them so that they work for the betterment of people here and abroad. That's how I see it. But
So
what I'll do though, I'll ensure that.
Let me say something. Let me
Go
say
ahead.
something. Let me say something. I'm in total agreement with you that we should continue the focus on corruption. But I want to say that we should also make sure that allegations of corruption are proven. We have documented proof of the corruption, because we are in this period now where everybody has a microphone and everybody is a podcast and what have you, and a whole wild allegation, you know, all over the place, and people get our reputation get damaged and what have you. We don't want to be a party to that. When we're going to discuss things like this, make sure it's one, we have the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
We
and
have,
how
we
you get the
have the
evidence?
evidence support.
How you get that
Well,
evidence?
that is well called. Well, there are a number of ways. Through your investigation, through your source, or what have you. What I'm saying is that we don't want to be shouting corruption, corruption, and we have nothing to support that. You understand? That's I'm just caution that, so nobody can accuse us of
Mike,
damaging their reputation and what have you. That's yeah. Go ahead.
the fact of the matter is that
Go ahead.
when we say corruption, right, we are not saying that we have the proof. What we are saying is that there needs to be an investigation. That's basically what we're saying, right? Because we are saying that
Okay.
there's a lack of accountability, right? And it spells corruption. So there's a need for investigation because that's the next step. Because the investigation is what leads to the prosecution, right? Because that was my next question to Ishmael. With all of this taking place, are you saying that there's absolutely no investigation being done anywhere addressing none of these allegations?
Um, there are in fact investigation. I mean, pointing to the Integrity Commission is just one instant, because the Integrity Commission is in fact investigating members of parliament for this enrichment. They did in fact have an issue maybe a year or two ago with the prime minister about something in his constituency. So investigations are in fact happening, and I put it to you that it's because of these investigations that we know that there are allegations of
Okay.
impropriety.
Okay. So that just bears out what I just said.
Right.
So so
So,
so then so then basically what you're saying is that there needs to be much more investigation taking place.
and not all right. So the investigation is one thing. Of the investigation is another. So I say to you um that this is where the issue lies. So let's say, for argument's sake, the 700 billion or the 800 million in relation to corruption comes up,
Mm-hmm.
and there, because of an investigation or an auditing, and whenever these investigations starts, you normally have a point where the investigation is stymied. And I put it to you that legislators can fix these things. So now, this is where the bouts of corruption come up. They see that there are irregularities in relation to continuing an investigation versus completing it, and they do nothing about it. So it is incumbent upon us to make the assertion to say that it is benefiting them, why they don't want to change it. And if it is benefiting them, why change it? Right? If you follow what I'm saying. So I'm saying to you, it is for us to continue burning the fire close to them so that they change this, so that it can work for all. Because it is because of these constitutional office
Let,
and it's because of these laws that we are benefiting now, that we know about the fact that 2.1 billion just was signed in November to a councillor and his family member, and they are in fact attached to a particular political party. It is because of investigation that we found out that um another councillor has a funeral home, and he is in fact close to the minister in question. It is because of investigations that we found out these things. So it's incumbent upon us to continue the advocacy so that they can change the law, so that we can benefit and we can see heads to start rolling.
let me ask you a question, Ishmael. What is the purpose of the Public Accounts Committee?
The purpose of
Parliament's
the
Public
PAC,
Accounts Committee. What is the purpose of that body? Yeah.
well, to what I know, and I don't want to misspeak. I don't want to misspeak, but as far as I know, the the PAC in relation to Jamaica, it's a statutory um, body within Parliament that airs out how the money is spent in Parliament in front of the people. So the people's
Impact.
representative, right? The people's
Okay.
representative is the members of Parliament, and they are supposed to ask questions of the respective MDAs how the money within the last
And
year that was
and
budgeted for is spent or
ex-
accounted for.
exactly, exactly, exactly. And the point I'm making is the bureaucracy. Oftentimes, sometimes I won't say oftentimes. Sometimes it's not really corruption, but failure to do certain things.
But
We
failure,
have
but failure to
committee in place, but they're not doing what they're supposed to do. You know,
It's not the committee though, Mike. The responsibility for
it's not.
transparency and accountability rests with the respective leadership, and the ultimate audit authority in that ministry or ministries is the permanent secretaries, who must be
And
accountable.
and he is accountable to the Public Service
Right,
Committee.
right. Well, no, no,
That's
he's,
who he
he's
reports to.
accountable to the people of Jamaica to report to Parliament via the Public Account Committee, right, as to what happened to the people's money. right? So you
Okay.
can't have this guy making excuses for 5 years straight, saying he don't have any idea what's going on. And this is what
And public
bothers
affairs, the the
And you're
public
making
accounts
sense,
committee
Herb. You're
did
making a lot of
nothing.
sense. So it means that for 5 years straight, he would have gone year by year to sit in front of the PAC and say that he doesn't know and he will look into
and
it.
make excuses. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
can't
can
do
be.
that.
It
And the
can be.
P, and the P, and the committee did nothing.
Yep.
Did nothing.
Not necessarily because the composition of the committees play a crucial role.
Did that change? Did that go over to
I don't know. I don't
the
know. To be
committee at
honest, I
one
don't know.
point was the opposition was in charge. Then that changed when this government went into
Yeah.
power,
Oh
right?
yes, that is true.
Yes, that's it.
Normally, whenever a government takes office, particular committees are in
Not
charge
normally. Not
charged.
not not
Not
not
normally.
normal. Not normally. That is what Bruce Golding started.
Oh,
When Bruce Golding
Yeah.
came to office, he started that when the opposition chaired the House
I
committee.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. That was
You
a
know.
wonderful move by him. And if that is the case,
But the point,
then it should have
That was
continued.
2007, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
2007 to 2011.
and
And it continued from 11 to 2015,
Yeah. And then
and then
this
it changed.
this
Okay.
government led by this prime minister starting doing things that were contrary to good governance. No
Mhm.
no transparency, no accountability.
Right. And these are the things that should be called out, because it can't be a case where you are the governing party and you are responsible for the public's purse. It is a conflict of interest to be in charge of monies, and the single most body within parliament for you to give account for that money you want to be in charge of too. It cannot be. It cannot be. So I agree with you, Herb. It should have continued. I know Mikhail Phillips is in charge of the PAAC, which is different from the PAC. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure. In relation to how that works. And if that is the case, there is something that um, screams or reeks of improprieties.
Yeah. We have to get the partisanship away from accountability. Because when you have a partisan, when you're examining your own books, so to speak, it doesn't help. The people are not asking you to rubber stamp anything. The people want accountability.
Right,
So if
right,
you
right.
if you're rubber stamping, then you need to go. To me, that should be part of the standards in Parliament, where these parliamentarians are required to do their jobs, right? And at the end of that, if it says that they're not doing their jobs, then they need to go, right? So ever since, and I'm not even sure, Pat, if you hear anything, ever since they enacted the 200% plus pay raises, if the accountability that the claim was coming, right? The within 100 days accountability. Did anything ever arise from that? Has anybody been fired because?
That died an instant death.
So there we go.
The debt wasn't really instant still. It lasts couple days, man, Patrick. Give them that. It lasts about 1 week. It lasts a little while, man. It
Well,
lasts about
maybe
a week.
all right.
In memory.
we might be miscounting, Pat. Maybe there's still 39 or 49 days left to go. You know,
All that. One thing you can say, we might not be able to prove corruption, but one thing we can say is that the Jamaican state is in need of modernization. I hear frequent complaint from folks to get something out of the Jamaican state office, government office, and what have you. It's one of the toughest thing. Long wait, and when you go, you pay your money, you have to go back and all that sort of thing. The bureaucracy is terrible. And with that, the corruption, that's all the corruption get to grow within the state. And people stop doing what they usually does. And now it's just a cut and paste thing. Everybody's into cut and paste, cut and paste, cut and paste. So,
you know what's that
I
old
tell
saying?
you,
All it takes for good men, for corruption to flourish, is for good men to say or and not do anything. To not say or not do anything.
that's true.
Well, it's good
That's
men and
true.
women.
That is true.
Women can no longer be exempt. They got to speak up.
Yeah.
You know, you have over 20 women in parliament, and they should feel for families. They should feel for kids. But I don't hear them saying anything. I don't even hear them objecting when it comes to
Because Jamaica is a
not a
because
real
Jamaica
place.
is an individualistic society,
I
not a
agree with
real
you, no,
place.
Mikey. I agree with you, no, the
What
individualism
Virgin,
you
and,
has
what you mean when
that's
you
it.
say that?
it. You know, it is true.
No, what do
It
you
is
mean
true.
when you say that?
Everybody look out for themselves.
Yeah, it's true.
But what I mean,
Oh,
Let's say if me buck my toe now,
selfishness.
yeah, man, everybody, and it is true. So most of the times they play towards the individualism of people. So if me are the few hungry over here, so, and you and your belly full, you're gonna
Yes,
say me alright. Me no know about him, but me alright. And it's always about the fact that I'm okay versus us as a collective. It's all, yeah, man. That's how it is. That's how it is.
Do you have any evidence that
and
the
that
parishes that survived the hurricane intact are helping out those parishes that did not survive it
I
intact?
know I know of organizations helping the other parishes, but I don't know of the other of parishes. I give you an example. A few polls, not much, but a few polls were in fact down in Kingston and St. Andrew. And if you hear the hoorah that comes up about JPS versus that of the people in St. Elizabeth just the day after the hurricane. So it's always about, all right. Now Kingston and St. Andrew is back to normal, and I tell you, I can tell you for sure, Clarendon, parts of Manchester, and most of St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland is they're still in a state, and it's literally business as usual in the corporate area. It's literally business as usual. So nobody really. I tell you. So I tell you, Mikey is spot on when he says that is so. And I also put it to you that whenever um elections come around, that's the same thing they use. It's the exact same thing. So they're going to some inner cities, and they're going to some places, and they pay off the man, or they cut something, or they fix a particular road to somewhere that they know they can get a lot of votes versus doing things the right way. And that's how most of the
but
times they
again,
win
that's nothing
election.
new.
I know it's not nothing new, but it speaks to the individualism of people. That's what it speaks to. So up until we decide to
that is a
change it,
dominant
well,
thing in Jamaica right
yeah,
now.
up until,
Compared to the
right.
compared to the 70s,
So he
compared
is
to the
in fact correct.
70s, everybody look out for somebody,
No, man, but now look, all right.
you
No, I
know.
can tell you. I can tell
But
you. You have some people that don't eat, that
we
don't
can't
eat on the
belabor
same
this
day.
point anymore,
That's
you
true.
know.
That's true. Go ahead. What I'll do though, I'll try to get
On
Jeanette
that
for
point, I
next
want
week.
to thank
Yeah, man.
the
I'll
bread,
try
the
to get you
brethren them
connected.
for the conversation. Sorry we didn't have Miss Calder here, but we were able to forge through, and identify some issues and what have you. So, bro, any final comments, remarks?
Well, just to
Ishmael,
say yes.
Patrick, Herb,
Yeah, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, Patrick speaking.
Yeah. Good discussion, I'm looking forward to really that guest coming on so we can get into that topic a little deeper. But certainly it is one that we shouldn't let slip by the wayside.
But let me say this, Mikey, Pat, and Ishmael. This Friday we meet in Toronto, and we'll be hearing out some of these grievances again, and we'll be getting the perspective of the people, the diaspora people of Canada, who have heard the perspectives in Miami, New York, and Washington, D.C. So now we go to Canada. We'll get their perspective. And then shortly thereafter, a month later, I should say, we go off to the UK. UK will be on the 25th and 26th of August, right? The 24th of August, I'm sorry, the 30th of August will be New York again. Um, so we're pressing the case for accountability, for transparency, and for good governance. And the government at some point will have to respond, if not to us in the diaspora, to the people at the ballot box. So they can keep um, sending out Mr. Vegas and company with the hope that um, they can drown us out on the road. But it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And what the people of Jamaica need to look at is who's paying Vegas and from which funds is he being paid to go out and do propaganda. But we will continue to do our people's work here in the diaspora, and we will ensure that we keep up the pressure, keep up the fire, so to speak, so we can have our young people progress, so that Ishmael can be the next potential prime minister down there in Jamaica. Isn't that right, Ishmael? There you go.
More like a minister of government, prime minister work.
You don't
Um,
want prime minister work. You don't want the
Ishmael, any
responsibility.
no,
black,
man, the responsibility is not a thing, but minister of government, you make more of an impact as a minister of
any,
government
all
than
right.
prime minister. Hmm.
Final words, Ishmael. Final words.
Right. Yeah. Thank you again to everybody within the comments for coming on to another Sunday evening afternoon at the round table with Waterhouse Vibes. I must say though, it is important for us to understand
Mm.
that in order for us to understand where we're going,
Somebody
we
wanted
must
to be prime minister here, Elaine Turner.
we must understand where we're coming from. And I find that um, we don't necessarily have a lot of that, especially in this day and age. So I appreciate us coming on every Sunday afternoon to discuss these issues, to keep them within the minds of the people. And it's just only for us to continue, because if it is only through our continuation that we will see real change.
Again, I want to thank each and every one of you for a very lively conversation. It's not everywhere you're going to go on the internet and find this sort of discourse, you know. We try to keep it clean. We try not to be disrespectful of anyone. We respect all views and we disagree with many views. What we do, we just try to be ourselves. You know, we try to be ourselves and talk in a way that the Jamaican people can understand. Okay? Because
Hmm.
this is about Waterhouse, about Jamaica. So keep on coming back for more. Every Sunday you will find us right here, 4 o'clock every Sunday. With that said, I want to ask you to like and share this video. Ishmael, we need to get the videos up. As we finish them, they need to be edited and put out so people can see them. All
Noted.
right?
And it's on that
All
note
right.
that you need to we need to put in the comments the oh, it can't go in the comments. So there is a community on WhatsApp called Waterhouse Vibes. Look it up, people. Waterhouse Vibes Community Diaspora and News Center. Follow us. That's where the information is. Thank you.
Join it.
All right.
Join the group. All right.
All
All
right.
all
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Take it easy.
Blessings,
Take care.
everyone.
Walk good.